Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I got something special for you. We're going to be talking about the fake psychics through history. These are the ones that have conned people out of many hours and many dollars, all in the name of spiritualism, to profit off of people's religion, like the televangelists we see all throughout modern history. Kenneth Copeland, I'm looking at you. Please don't put a hit out on me. Now, me and my friend Shane here, we have dabbled in the paranormal before. We are avid ghost hunters and have been on many, many investigations. Go ahead, get your laughs out, get your claps out, that's fine. Go ahead and poke fun at the weird ones. Now, I'm sure you've seen psychics on TV. I'm sure you've even met a couple of proclaimed psychics. Now, we're not here to shit on people who believe that they can see the future or who want to do stuff like this to try to help people. We are here mainly just to shit on people who are taking advantage of other people. So please don't come at me sideways about this, or do. It's going to be funny either way.
Come at you sideways.
What is happening? We're going to be talking about the people that you go to seek advice from, and they extort exuberant amounts of money from you. You know, you walk in there and you're like, I have stage 4 prostate AIDS. Is that bad?
Probably offensive.
I don't really give a shit.
Right.
And they go, okay, let me read your palm. And they grab your palm and they start caressing you a little bit. And, you know, they go, oh, shit, you're cooked. Give me $450. Those are the kinds of people that we're going to be making fun of today. And who better to start us off than the pioneers of early spiritualism and scams themselves, the Fox sisters. Maggie and Kate Fox were 11 and 14 respectively when they found out they had a really neat ability to pop their joints and toes to make it sound like knocking or rapping. It was really loud, apparently. It fooled basically everybody in New York. It's fucking hilarious. This all started when they decided they wanted to pull a prank on their mother after they found out that they could make these rapping noises with their feet. So what they did was they brought their mom into the room and they went, hey mom, listen, there's a ghost in our house. His name is Splitfoot. That's what we call him. We call him Splitfoot. I don't know where the fuck they got the name Splitfoot, but that's fucking awful, first off. Second off, they got his full name from these rapping noises too. You know, they basically went, is there a ghost here? Is your name Charles B. Rosna? So what they would do is they had apples attached to strings attached to basically a small pulley system that they would use to also make knocking noises. So it was that in conjunction with popping their toes to basically gaslight their mom into thinking that A, they were psychics, and B, there was a ghost named Charles B. Rosna living in their basement because he was buried there when he was murdered by the last tenants of the home. What the f***? The truth came out about them many, many years later after they had basically rose to fame and got the entire city of New York, which, by the way, they started a very small village of people who were like, whoa, that's fucking crazy. They can talk to ghosts.
I can't even imagine how they do it.
I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I try to pop my toes and my whole foot hurts. Their neighbors heard about the haunting and them being able to communicate with the spirits and decided to come over and look. And everyone was amazed by the immediate responses that they were always getting from this supposed spirit living in their cellar. This would grow and grow and grow into a goddamn pandemic where essentially everyone in New York thought that they were able to communicate with their dead loved ones, which they then profited heavily off of, being managed by their eldest sister, Leia. Basically, she was the reason why they were able to gain marketing and get so fucking popular when they lived in a little small hamlet of like 3 or 4 fucking houses. They took the entire New England coastal fucking part of the United States by storm. It was insane, the revolution that they pioneered. Their first major demonstration took place on November 14th, 1849 at the Corinthian Hall in Rochester, marking the first public event of talking to spirits in the entire United States history. Now, later on in life, the Fox sisters ended up falling into a deep depression and started suffering from severe alcoholism and decided to do something drastic because their families were worried about them because they weren't really able to take care of their kids very well. So essentially what happened was Maggie Fox ended up selling the rights to the story to the New York World for $1,500, in which she demonstrated how they performed the rapping noises. And on October 21st, 1888, she went to the New York Academy of Music in front of a crowd of 2,000 people. She demonstrated how she would pop her legs, ankles, and joints and all that fun shit.
Doctors from the audience examined the sisters and confirmed their confession. I'm sorry, they had to have doctors confirm that they were popping their toes?
Wait, so they had they had doctors come in from the crowd.
It says doctors from the audience.
To make sure that they were popping their toes.
Yeah.
And not talking to spirits.
Yeah.
Okay. So post-reveal, Maggie actually walked back these claims that they were faking all of it because she found herself in financial struggle. So she basically went, you guys know how I told you it was fake. I was lying. They paid it off. They paid me off to do it. I can still talk to ghosts. Please give me money. Later on, both of them would die of alcoholism. I mean, it wasn't the main cause. They were also just not healthy people. But yeah, alcoholism definitely did not help. And it is listed as one of the reasons that they died. So there you go. I did also want to mention that they apparently, and we found this on one article while we were doing research for this, but I thought it was too funny to include. They apparently found the decayed corpse of a peddler in their cellar after they were dead. It was in the walls. In the walls of the cellar, they found a dead guy. And he had like a peddler's tin. So, yeah, Charles B. Rosna he was real. Moving on from the Fox sisters, we could also talk about the most prolific ghost hunters in history, and also some of the most prolific frauds in history. Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now, I'm sure you've heard of them. They're super famous. They are, I think just about everyone on the entire fucking planet has heard of them from the Conjuring franchise, which is based around some of their supposed hauntings, like the Amityville, Annabelle, apparently the Crooked Man, I guess. I don't fucking know. Dude, someone fucking put in the comments, Valak is the reason why I masturbate at night. I don't fucking know, dude. So these two have over 10,000 investigations under their belt, allegedly. They marketed themselves as Catholic exorcists and founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, or NESPR, in the 1950s. So my personal favorite investigation of theirs was when they attempted to exorcise a demon from the Smurl family house. Now, this was a case that led to them realizing that what they were dealing with wasn't just your ordinary demon. No, this was a succubus. I bet Ed was having a whole lot of fun in there with that one. So apparently after they tried to exorcise said succubus, after Ed probably got his rocks off.
If they failed, what constitutes failing?
Yeah, what constitutes failing banishing a succubus? Oh no! Oh! Ooh! Ooh! This led to them calling in reinforcements from a future pope, Pope Benedict XVI, or before he was a pope, his name was Cardinal Ratzinger. With the efforts of Mr. Ratzinger and the Warrens, they were able to stave off and banish the succubus. Probably not after Ratzinger also got his dues. So to go into a bit more depth on Ed and Lorraine Warren personally, they were both, as I mentioned before, devout Roman Catholics. Ed Warren was recognized as the only Catholic lay expert in demonology. This guy was the real deal. He was the only demonologist. I wonder how much fucking money he had to pump into them for them to say that. Jesus Christ. Ed was also a prolific painter, but we'll get to that. Or we could talk about Lorraine. Lorraine was a psychic medium, a really prolific psychic medium. Now, when they started growing in popularity, they started obviously getting critics, because a lot of people are like, what the fuck are you even talking about? So in order to combat these critics, she decided to take a little trip down to UCLA. That's right, the University of California, Los Angeles. Some world leaders of education and research excellence to do some scientific testing with some parapsychologists. Shane, put the definition of parapsychologist right here for me. Thank you. The research efforts on Lorraine Warren were led, of course, by Dr. Thelma Moss. That's right, she is a doctor in parapsychology. Let that fucking sink in. After a lot of deliberation, they had come to the conclusion that Miss Warren was a light trance medium. She was a scientifically proven to be a medium. Scientifically. Shane, scientifically. She was scientific. Science! What is a light trance medium, you might be asking yourself? Well, Shane, why don't you go ahead and explain it?
In the context of mediumship, a light trance refers to a state where the medium is still somewhat aware of their surroundings and can recall the experience afterwards. I think it has to do with something possessing their body. They're still like slightly aware. There's also different levels. There's like the deep trance medium.
I like the idea that they're just like, they're holding like a fucking stethoscope to her back. She's all like, I'm getting a reading. They're like, her heart rate, it's slowing down. Meanwhile, the other scientist is like holding like a thermal reader to her forehead, and he's like, she's dropped approximately 2 degrees Fahrenheit. She's a light trance medium. Could you imagine, like, someone walks in and you're like, how can I help you? I think I'm a medium. They're like, oh, okay. Well, let's see if we can figure it out. And you go in there and just sit down on the chair and you're like, he's being possessed. He's being possessed. Off. Now, I know you might be asking yourself, how did such prolific paranormal investigators and mediums get caught with their pants down? Well, one of the ways that they got caught was the Lutz family from Amityville. I don't know if you guys remember that, where, basically fucking dude walked around and killed his whole fucking family with a rifle and claimed it was demons. The people who bought the house afterwards basically said it was all fake. It was a fucking fabrication. They did it all for money. That was one of the most prolific ways that the Warrens were caught. Paranormal investigators also repeatedly debunked a lot of their findings as frauds, yet they continued pushing their stories. I'm not going to get into depth about that. If you want to fucking look into it yourself, you can. I don't really give a shit. And then, of course, my favorite, the way that they would originally find clients for their investigations. Do you remember earlier when I mentioned Ed being a painter? So what they would do is they would see houses that they would think would be haunted, and then they would have Ed paint a detailed painting of that house, bring it to their house, and then knock on their door and go, I saw your house in a vision and I painted it. Can I investigate the haunting in your house? And they'd normally go, oh, that's all right. F*** it, why not?
He was in the Navy. He had a near-death experience during World War II, apparently.
Why do I give a shit? Why do I care? Thank you for your service, Ed Warren. Fucking God. Now, I could sit here and talk about the Warrens all day if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to do that because there's enough about them online, enough people have talked about them. You've seen the fucking Conjuring, you know who they are. So next, we're going to talk about Ethel Post Parrish, a psychic medium who ran Camp Crystal Bell, where believers gathered for spiritualist sessions where she would claim to materialize spirits for them to touch. She claimed she was able to summon her spirit guide, an Indian woman named Silver Bell. Now, there's supposed pictures of her summoning Silver Bell, which, if you look at this, it looks like a fucking... It's absolutely just a cardboard cutout. There's no... It's a fucking... Her whole thing was claiming she could summon actual physical spirits to manifest for people to touch, like loved ones and people who they knew who died, and so on and so forth. Basically, what happened was she hired some fucking actors to come out of this little box that looked like, I don't fucking know, like a summoning booth. And they would come out and pretend to be ghosts, and people fucking believed it. And people to this day still fucking believe it for some ungodly reason. Just look at this fucking picture, man. Investigators and skeptics found that these spirits were just assistants in costumes, like I said, and that she used cheap parlor tricks to fool people. And if you're wondering, yes, people have come out who were her assistants and said, oh yeah, she had me dress in a costume and come out and just fuck with people. And while she was never formally charged, she did in fact go to court for fraud for doing this. Her credibility, although, like I said, she was not charged, was forever fucking shattered, as it should be. And Camp Silver Bell, luckily for people's wallets, faded into obscurity after her death. Thank you, Ethel. We appreciate your contributions to the spiritualist movement. And finally, we could talk about a more modern day psychic, one that is on the forbidden app TikTok. Of course, we're going to be talking about Ashley Gillard. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ashley Gillard is, essentially what happened was she jumped on the bandwagon of detectives trying to find out what was going on with the Idaho murders back in 2022. But she didn't do this in an official manner. No, what she did was she pulled out her tarot cards and she started doing a reading in which she concluded that Rebecca Schofield, a professor at U of I, had orchestrated the murders of the 4 students. Now, these claims, of course, and obviously were baseless, but she and some people on TikTok rallied behind her on this, was adamant, and is to this day adamant, that she's right and the police were wrong about the murders of those 4 students in Moscow, Idaho. Despite no connection at all between Schofield and the victims, Gillard doubled down, posting dozens of videos claiming that Schofield was the one behind the murders. Even after the actual suspect, Brian Koberger, I think was his name, right? Brian Koberger was caught. I can't even imagine being this adamant about saying that someone committed one of the most heinous crimes in modern history with literally no base at all to stand on. Imagine believing one of the most absurd things that your brain could possibly come up with and using some tarot cards as a way to back it up. Like just assuming that you're right and being so delusional that even when you're proven wrong, you can't help but stand by what you're saying. Ashley, you are as delusional as they come, and I really hope you seek help, because this is fucking crazy. So if you're wondering what the reasoning for Miss Schofield was to supposedly murder 4 students in Idaho, it was that she was having a secret love affair with one of those students, and she didn't want anyone to know, so to cover it up, she murdered her and 3 other people. That's what Ashley Gillard is saying. That is what she's doubling down on. To this day, she's... God, I hate people. So Rebecca Schofield, the U of I professor that, was unfortunately going through all of this, filed a defamation lawsuit, to which Miss Gillard had replied with her own lawsuit, which was quickly fucking thrown out of court for obvious reasons, considering all of her claims were completely baseless and, frankly, otherworldly levels of absurd.
So her only evidence to support her statements, the defendant's statements, Miss Gillard, about the plaintiff, Miss Schofield, is that the defendant's spiritual investigation into the murders using intuitive tarot readings.
Wait, okay. Does that mean that she entered tarot readings as evidence?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No way, bro! No, it said her only evidence. That means that the evidence was entered into discovery.
Well, yeah, I know, that's my point, right? Because, like, to use something as evidence, you have to like, register it with the court so that they know that that's what your evidence is, and so that your opponent knows what that evidence is.
How fucking delusional do you have to be? Could you imagine being the professor in this scenario, and you're like, you're getting ready for court, you get the fucking evidence in the mail, and it's just some overhead pictures of some tarot.
Well, I'm just...
So what that also means is she had to have brought it into the court, confidently stood up at the podium with the judge holding the evidence, and went, "I'd like to move to admit this evidence," and the judge would go, "What the fuck am I looking at, dude?" I like to live in the universe where the judge didn't just immediately tear it in half and rip it off the desk and decided to hear her out just to hear what fucking crazy claims she was going off about. So she could just read the tarot in court to the judge.
Well, yeah, so it says here, Gillard used her claircognizant abilities to gather all the pieces to the puzzle of what happened to the 4 students and why. She became very passionate and touched by their stories as told by the intuitive tarot reading cards and their social media footprint. She was stalking their social media.
What the fuck, bro?
An intuitive tarot reading revealed that Schofield would get away with the murder if it wasn't for Gillard at the time. Gillard did not know how that would happen, but she decided to continue to seek the truth regarding the murder of the 4 students and to advocate on their behalf.
Okay, wait, so basically what that said was she talked to the students after they died, stalked their social media.
Yeah.
She like looked at like their fucking last Facebook status. It's probably like a meme like Ricardo Milos fucking dancing to like the Venga Bus song. And she's like, oh, she was a lesbian. She was fucking one of the students. She killed them. Ah, I cracked the case. Call me detective. Like, what the fuck, dude? If there's anything to take away from this video, if you're a con artist, fuck you. If you're ever in need of a tarot reading, reach out to Ashley Gillard so she can accuse you of a quadruple homicide, I guess. I don't know. Shane, also, I apologize about my posting schedule. I know I posted over a month ago. I got sick with a f***ing flu that lasted like 3 or 4 weeks. It really sucked. This is like the first week in probably a month that I haven't been coughing my f***ing head off. So, be good people and don't paint pictures of people's houses and tell them that their house is haunted, I guess. I don't know. Bye.